Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today is the lovely, a friend that I consider a friend, a soul friend, a heart friend, really. I have to say that. Thank you. So her name is Jocelyne Ranucci. She is an author, a guide, a businesswoman. She wrote the book From Childhood to CHRISTHOOD, A Journey into Universal Divine Consciousness. So this is my brief introduction to you. As always, the full bio will be at the end. So I usually begin with the question of who you are, but we is an exception. We are not going to go there. But I also wanted to let you know that for those who are watching, that this is part 3 to our conversation. We have been having these conversations for a long time now. Basically, within the same topic, but we expand every time. So today we'll talk about path to self-realization from her own experience. So my first question to you, had to be the first question, is what is self-realization? And is God realization, self-realization one and the same, Jocelyne, or somehow different?
Well, self-realization is an understanding of who you are. Okay, so it can be at many different levels. So, but basically, it's to have the realization of your existence, of who you are. You know, if you think that we are on earth for the experience, for the spirit to have an earthly experience, to experience itself in a way, right? If you want to believe that, and so that each of us are having an experience, our spirit is having an experience through our body, if you want, our materialization, it experiences itself. So the total self-realization is when, in my opinion, when the human experience becomes one with the spirit, you know, like almost going back to the origin of who we are, right? Because if that's some reality that we are basically energy experiencing itself, you can call it universal intelligence, God, spirit, right. Many names, but that being the same intelligence that is in the universe, because the fact that there is intelligence is undeniable. Just look who we are, our body and all of that. It's extraordinary, right? Yeah. So if you start like that, and so you think that this intelligence express itself through the human, to the body, to material, through feelings and senses and all of that. It's an experience, right? And so, but those are just suppositions, but let's say that's what you believe, and that's why little by little the science, I think, is showing that could be it.
Yeah.
At many levels, I don't. And so I don't think that the experience originally was to suffer and to have war and all of that. And so I think at some time there was a disconnect. It's like, the plug was unplugged and the human starting to have a life outside of that intelligence. That doesn't mean the intelligence is not in us. We are still that same intelligence having the experience, except that now we put the ego, the human and all of that. And so now the experience is not that great. But it's still an experience that we have to go through, right? So for me, self-realization, and I'm not way next to it, right? It takes a long time to me, self-realization is to go back to that origin, to that understanding that, we are just experiencing ourselves if you want. And so then once but to really understand it and become that. And so then when we are at that level, then I think, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But so that's the big picture of self-realization, right? As long as we are on earth, I don't think nobody reached that. But then in order to get to that, you need to know yourself because you're still having the experience on earth. So how are you going to experience that? Is through knowing yourself, and through knowing yourself, you become a better person and your experience on earth is better, and because if we are all energy, everything we do, it's like, we move with all the rest of the energy. So everything we do, everything we think, everything has an impact over everything. So by going through the path of self-awareness to have a better understanding of who you are, of what you do, of how you do it, little by little, you become a better human. And I think that's the idea. And then, your life on earth, that doesn't mean your life is going to be perfect, but it's going to be more pleasant for sure, and not only for you, but for the world around you. So to me, everybody is on that path, aware or not aware, consciously or unconsciously, but we are on that same path. That's what I believe. Right. And the path to going back to the origin. Now, that's just an idea, Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful vision. Yeah, that so many of us have been talking about, and for so long. So do you think that we have at some point have this realization at some point in the history of humanity?
Well, I don't know. What I like to believe, because it's a nice story, as you say, is that at the beginning, I think maybe we were connected, and maybe then, I don't know, the ego, I don't know what came, but came the disconnect. And so maybe some people, when they talk about the civilization, like, Egypt and all of that, they always talk about the priest and the priestess, and so maybe those people, they were still kind of connected. And then I don't know what happened, the dark ages, I don't know. But right now we suffer because we are completely, most of us, disconnected from the source. Not that we are, because I believe we are the source. The source is in us, but we are disconnected. We don't know it because then, there is a veil. When we are born, we don't remember anything, and so the journey is to go back and to remember to a point, and then each time we remember. We talk about that then. Even the big master, they had to go and remember. Buddha had to go and he had his path, his journey. Jesus too, they are the lost year of Jesus, where supposedly he went to India and Tibet and Egypt, and because for some reason we don't remember. So we need to reconnect. And let's say you do your journey now, and so, and then you pass on and you come back on another life. I'm going to forget everything, Jocelyne, consciously. I'm not going to remember our conversation, but I think it's still going to be in me or whoever I'm going to be then, and then I'm going to have to remember again. But maybe I am hoping it's going to get easier until one day where I won't have to remember, because I will just know. And then there will be complete self-realization, and maybe we don't come back. Maybe there is a better place to go. I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of the mystery, isn't it? If
Yeah.
there's one. So that remembering becomes a knowledge, right, Jocelyne? So you mentioned you remember and then you know. So there is this peace aspect of knowledge. I know who I am.
Well, it's what you believe at the moment, because I don't think we really know. It's like, you may have a revelation.
Yeah.
If you are, it is what I say. First, you need to have question. Some people, they don't question anything. They taught ABCD and that sounds good to them. And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, to connect to that thing, you need to wonder, you need to ask, you need to have some kind of inner journey. Now, not everybody have the same question, and, but they need to be a desire.
Yeah. Right.
A desire, okay, to know. So then when it's the same thing when you go to school. If you have no interest, you're not going to learn anything. But if you have the desire to know, then you're going to ask questions, you're going to study, and you're going to learn, right?
Yes.
So it's the same thing. Like, for instance, savant, they always want to know. They're full of questions, why is this, why is that? So they get the answer, and sometimes things change, but so you need to have that desire, and not everybody have the same question. Now, in my opinion, depending on the question and depending on the strength of the desire, you're going to get the answer, or you're going to be directed toward the answer. For instance, me, just to give an example, since I'm a child, really, life did not make sense to me. Did not make sense. I did not understand anything. I did not understand people reaction, and my personality, and still today, things need to make sense for me. If not, it's not good. Things have to make sense. It's just my personality. Some other people, they don't care, right? So from that age, my search started because I had to find something that made sense. If not, I could not take it, So that's how, for me, I started my search. It's got to make sense. This doesn't make sense. So, I start looking, and so then you are directed to a book, to a program. So sometimes you're going to join a community, or whatever it is. You're going to be directed to the answer,
Right.
Or maybe not the answer, but a step, toward the answer. And then it starts, because every question leads to another question that leads to another question. So the intensity of your journey is going to be according to the intensity of your search. Right? And you're still going to get the answer that you seek because they are inside of you. Right? So, but in order to do that, you're going to need to listen, pay attention, and actually act. Like if you are guided to read a book, you actually have to read it. The title is not enough.
Right. Right.
So it's like you need to study. And so then, depending where you are, you're going to have revelation. Something is going to happen at one point or another. So for me, what's a revelation? It's something that comes through you that is undeniable, the experience that you have received.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you understand it. You know? So you may have several revelations, but it could be, let's say that you are walking in the woods and your mind is, you're thinking of life, or you have question and whatever it is. And all of a sudden you feel something and you feel like, part of that wood. It's a revelation, that could happen in a meditation. So something might happen to you that you don't particularly understand, right?
Yes.
But that kind of strength cannot be denied. So you don't understand it really, but it's true, And so then that the second path of your search, of your path, because now you're going to go toward understanding that revelation which you don't understand, but you cannot deny it. Remember, for me, for instance, just to give an example, and I think I told you before, and I wrote it in my book, at one point in my journey, I wanted to be a better person. I figure I'm not perfect. I need to be nicer. I was, every Saturday was dedicated to my spirituality, and I would walk. I was in Mexico at the time, and I would walk over rocks. I would walk along far away, and then I would be on a rock that was going inside the sea. So I was there every Saturday. I meditated. I was, with all the element, the sun, the sea, the earth, and all of that. And so on my way there, I keep thinking in my head, I want to be like Christ. What I meant, and I explained that before, what I meant is that I would like to be more like Jesus, because I thought Jesus was a nice person. So I would have liked to be more like him. And so, that's what I do. And I am on my rocks, and I think I like to be like Jesus. No, because I said Christ, because at the time I did not differentiate between Christ and Jesus. And then that's when I had this incredible revelation where there was this, I don't know what it was, that said to me, you are not like Christ, you are Christ. So what happened at that moment to me is undeniable. I could not say it did not happen, because it did. I make a joke that I almost fell off my rock, but I really almost, because it was like, I did not understand it. It was very disorienting to me, and I had no idea what that meant, but I could not deny it.
Right.
So I think at some point something happened to us, and then the journey really goes deeper, because now the search is, okay, what does that mean? Because that is true. Right. So it can be different for everybody, but I think it happened. And so then, again, the intensity of the journey depends how much you're going to give into. Some people say, that's all personal. But then you keep on studying and learning and all of that. And so then it's what you learn, you need to apply. That's the next chapter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, application of knowledge.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and
knowledge.
that's the difficult part,
Right.
because just to know something is great, but it is not enough, you know. So you cannot get, you gotta be very careful, because you cannot get stuck, like, you cannot also get completely stuck into the study, and all
Yes.
you do is study, 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 and you don't apply, you don't digest anything, you just go from one study to another. You know, it happened, you know, sometimes, you know, this one, he is in the university for 10 years now.
Yes. Yes.
You know, no, it is not good. Or you cannot
Yeah.
also, you need to be very careful not to get attached to the message or to the messenger.
Ah, yeah, that's a big one.
That's a very big one,
Yes.
because you can
Yeah.
get caught into following somebody, and it's not that it's bad, but then you're not doing the work for yourself. So then, you know, you've got all those things to figure out. And everybody's going to figure them out in their own way.
Mm.
But in the end of the day, you need to bring everything back within your own self and apply it in your own life. So, meaning, let's say that you learn about energy and all of that, and you learn about the power of the word, for instance. Be mindful of what you say, right? And that resonates with you, and you believe it, right? Well, then you have to be mindful of what you say.
Yes.
You know. And so then that's very difficult, because sometimes you're not going to be, you know, and so that's an part of the past too.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a little example, but so it's very it's very profound, the experience you go through, because you've got all of that, and then you've got what I call the initiation.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
When life is going put in front of you circumstances to trigger,
Ah.
you know, certain behavior or whatever from you, which sometimes you think you overcame, but then all of a sudden you realize, no, you know, you have a reaction and all of that. So you have some initiation, is like, it's cool, right? At the end, you have to pass the exam. And so it's very, it's work. You know, when you think about it, it's work.
Uh-huh. And what it seems to me that it's the work of suffering less, right? Being, let's say, letting go of pain, because pain is very natural, but then suffering is holding on to pain. That's what I have heard before that made sense to me. So that's one point. But another thing, I mean, you said a lot of incredible, insightful things just now, but one of the things that really caught my attention immediately is when you said, it's not that I wanted to become Christ, is that I am Christ. So that's from my own understanding, because that's what I'm really interested in, is exactly the studies that it's a really spiritual path, knowledge, Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta. It's exactly what they say. That's how they begin. You are God. And that's that, period.
Well, it's just because we go back to the origin that, you know, we are a spark of that universal intelligence, creativity, whatever that you can call spirit and all of that. We are that materialized, having, it's like, it want to experience itself through the body, because, you know, so that's what it, you know, now I think, you know, that message I receive was that, you know, that's what I am,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But at the time I did not know, I did not understand. I did not know what it meant, Christ. I did not know it meant enlightenment and all of that. I did not know any of that,
Right.
So I almost felt, I was troubled. I was
Yeah,
troubled
I can imagine.
by that thing, but it was so strong that I know it was not a dream or anything, and so I'm sharing that because that's my experience, my first big experience like that,
Mm.
that really, shift everything. But, you can have some extraordinary revelation like that when you meditate and all of that. What I meant is it's something that's going to happen, a realization that you cannot deny, even if you don't really understand it,
Right.
and then you're going to look for what it means.
Right. Right. And you see, a lot of times that profound knowledge for some people it's enough. And that shifts everything. That automatically kind of embedded in their body, their cells become almost
Well,
saturated
yeah,
with that knowledge and the
yeah.
mind changes.
But yeah, because we everybody is at a different level, so
Right. Right.
yes, it depends. That's it's a very, you have to go through the experience yourself. Everybody is different. Nobody is better or less. It's just it's because it's our own experience or our own spirit experience or whatever you want to call it, but it comes through us, and so it's all different. And the thing is, you say, okay, for some people it's enough, they have a realization,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
become that's wonderful. And maybe you in your next life is
Yeah.
going to be like that, because that's the experience you need to have, and then you are self-realized. Okay, but that's very rare, and it's also is not something you say, okay, I'm going to become self-realized now. No.
Yeah. And you try really hard. Yeah.
No, that's, all those things is like, you cannot make them happen. They will happen when you are ready. Even sometimes when you are not ready, but you are
Yeah.
ready.
Right.
You are ready not to be ready, because so it's just like it happens to you. You cannot force it. You cannot force it.
Ah,
You know,
right.
in some way, you cannot say, "Oh, I'm going to be a better person." No, you can take the step to become a better person, but you have to do the steps.
Hmm. It's another concept, Jocelyn. I am a person. And what is to be a person anyway? So it seems like we have too many belief systems, and that's what we need to take out of the way. I heard that realizing that you are already what you're looking for, it's not that it's difficult. It's already here. It's so close to us that we miss it. But it, because we have so many misconceptions and misunderstandings of what we are, who we are.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the journey to get
Yeah.
through all those misconceptions. But I think that to have the approach that we are not people, that we are only a dream, and
Mm.
I
Oh,
don't think for me it doesn't make sense. It's not helpful, because you have to try to make this experience on earth, the best, because yes, you are a person on earth. Yes, you eat, you breathe, you love, you don't love, you suffer. Yeah, that's an experience. You cannot deny it. Now, with time, you may understand that you are more than that. You may understand that you are connected to everything, that you have certain power and this and that.
mm,
But that's to deny that you are a person, for me, is not right, because that's the experience. The experience is that you are a human being. That's what the spirit wants to experience. So
right.
to say you are not, then what? I think that's what I call going in the la la land. We are on earth. You become a better person on earth. How? Working on yourself and not sending out negative energy and all of that. That's the way you become a better person. Working on yourself, knowing yourself, forgiving yourself, understanding yourself, changing yourself, shifting, and then all the energy you send out is not going to hurt or aggravate anybody else.
Right. Yeah, I love that. As it's almost like the perfume of God. Then it will be a person being in harmony with that
You
energy.
smell good.
Yeah, like you smell good, you're kind, you're peaceful. That smells really good, doesn't it?
you know in my book, I think I say, I remember when I was a little girl,
Yeah.
I forgot what story it was. I kind of forgot. But anyway, the image was that the good person, when she spoke, the illustration was that flower coming out of her mouth, right?
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
bad person, when she spoke, she had like snake and frog coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's you have to try to be the person with flower. That doesn't mean that once in a while, maybe the flower is doesn't look too good, but it's an image anyway.
That would make sense to me too, because that would be the flavor, yeah, the smell of the perfume of God, right? That would be a representation of that in the human form, right? Being kind, being loving, treating others the way you treat yourself.
Yeah, but you see, yes, but those, you cannot say I'm going to become that person. You have to work at it, because it's not just going to happen, because it's not only what you project. You can project to be kind and loving, but if inside your head,
Yeah.
you're singing, look at this imbecile, really, I can't stand that person, or it's what's inside your head. So we all have a mask, we all have something we project, but that's not who we are really. But sometimes that's what we want to think we are. But because when you go inside and you realize, oh, well, maybe I'm not that person at all. And then you have the courage to accept who you are.
Yes.
And then you have the courage to stop blaming others. And then you have the courage to work on yourself. That's the journey. That's the journey. Everything else is what I say in the La La Land. It's very nice. It's beautiful. You go to a beautiful retreat. You go to a beautiful conference when you learn beautiful things.
Right.
But that's not the journey really. The journey is to go within and become your first realize, as you said,
Yes.
and then become that person you seek to become.
So yeah, the becoming is part of the person, right, Jocelyne? Just to clarify, because realizing that's something something that's already here. So you cannot become something that you already are. We already are the divine
Yeah,
consciousness.
but you don't know that. Nobody is walking the street and thinking I'm the divine concept.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not the way you live your life. Now, once you learn, let's say that you learn that, okay, you read the book or you follow some teaching, and you resonate with that thing that I am that divine concept, I'm God, I'm this and that. And then what? Unless you become it, it has no meaning.
Oh, within the human experience. Yeah. I
No.
see. Yeah. I was just wondering if because we are using the mind, the limited, intellect, what we think we know to understand what consciousness is, what God is. Maybe, I have asked that question. Maybe we have no idea what God is. What about if God or pure consciousness is something that's beyond comprehension, one, and it includes everything, the good and the bad. It forgives
Yes.
you. It doesn't actually care if you make it, if you realize itself or not, if you are good to other people or not.
Absolutely. Maybe there is no reason. Maybe there is no goal. Maybe
Right.
we don't know. That's why every journey is personal, because is what you're going to accept for yourself or experience for yourself. That's going to make you a better human being, and enjoy the experience better. But some people, like you and I, we can be here and have a beautiful experience, but then, some people over there, they are at war and maybe a bomb is falling on them. That's also an experience. You know what I'm saying? It's like, uh, uh, but you cannot make their experience your experience.
Yes.
It's really, that's what I think. I cannot explain it completely 100%. Nobody can. I think that you just it's a choice that you make, and if you don't make that choice, and you can have a very nice life, because whether you want it or not, you're still having the experience.
Yes.
Maybe you just don't not conscious, so things happen, boom, boom, boom. It's like but you're still having the experience, and sometimes you can have a very nice life, But it's what I told you. It's really to it. Like two people can follow the same teaching that you follow. For instance, I forgot Dante. You said,
Advaita Vedanta, yeah.
And have a completely different experience, a completely different even understanding.
Yes, it's possible. It's possible.
Well, it's for sure. Have you ever read a book?
Yeah.
You read the book, and then a year later, you don't know, you read the book again. It's like a brand new book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because you forgot. It's because the way your brain, your interpretation, it's completely different.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, because one of the books that I read a lot all the time is the Upanishads. That's like the foundation, like the Bible for Advaita Vedanta. So every time I read that book, any page, any phrase, it feels fresh.
Because you change all the time. Your understanding, your needs, everything change all the time. So it's always new. It's always new.
Yeah, that's wonderful too. You see, that makes this experience very fascinating, I have to say, and fun, right? But I want to go back to the topic of suffering. So the goal of self-realization, God realization, or any spiritual path that we adopt, it is to lessen our own suffering, isn't it?
Well, it depends. It depends. It depends what question you ask. It depends your circumstances. It for sure there is a lot of suffering on earth,
Yes.
and I think to go in the past, to have a certain understanding, to help lessen the suffering, for sure. But I don't know much about Buddha and all of that, but from what I understand from his life, he was raised with no suffering.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? A beautiful life and all of that. And then one day he goes out and he see people suffer. And so that was his question.
Right.
Why are people suffering? And that's not right. That's not right. So that was Buddha journey.
Right.
Right?
There. Yeah.
He could have looked and say, oh, well, poor guy, and stay in the palace and do nothing. Right?
That's true.
Now, another prophet might have another question. It all goes in the end to the same place. But I think suffering, I think that once you are on the path and you have a better understanding of things, it does lessen the suffering, but it does not particularly make it disappear. Because I think we suffer because we are disconnected with the true life. And also because in one way we are disconnected, and on the other way we are all connected. So everything that's happened everywhere has also an effect on you. We don't exist by ourselves, right? So, and we're not traveling the same road at the same pace all the time. So it's a lot. So that's why it's good to take care of yourself, because you cannot take care of everybody else.
Yeah. I interview people here all the time, and it's so powerful, the grief that, God, it just takes over my body. Their suffering becomes my suffering. Like, oh my God. They cry, and then I cry like I have lost, a child myself. So how do we, even though we know we never die, some of us might realize that, like I have some glimpses, very powerful glimpses, like you have revelations on eternity. I know we're infinite, we never die, the real us. But that part, it seems like the heart wants this to be true. I wanted Jocelyne to be true, to be real. And if something happens to you, I'll cry and I'll probably be in pain for a long time. So how do we reconciliate? How do we kind of, I don't know, we try not to avoid that kind of suffering.
Well, I understand, because I also experience being oversensitive. So yeah. I understand what it means. So that's something that you need to try. You cannot control it and say, oh, I'm not going to be oversensitive, because that's your nature. But you need to protect yourself. Okay? And I don't do it a lot myself, and I always pay for it. But, for me, I cannot be in crowds. I feel everybody in there is too much. You might need to have a lot of time by yourself to kind of recharge the battery, because people, So I understand about being over sensitive, and it's something that you need to acknowledge and work with it, so that you don't suffer so much. You need to understand what it is you can do and what it is you cannot do.
Right.
Anyway, that's what I did for myself. And, that doesn't make me an antisocial. I am not an antisocial, but I'm very protected, and I spend more time by myself than with people. It's somewhat some protection, right?
Yeah.
So that's about being oversensitive. And sometimes something sad happen, and if something happened to your dog or somebody that you love, yes, you're going to feel the pain, and it's painful. It's part of life. It's part of the experience of life. However, there gotta have to be a difference between being over dramatic about everything that happened. Okay, because, and that might sound a bit unkind, but it's not unkind. I'm thinking, everybody we all the same. We all are that little spark of universal intelligence, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. That's what I believe. You need to believe that. If you believe something else, then that's fine. Therefore, we all have the power to change and understand and work with what we have, etc. So if somebody, you feel, if you feel very bad and somebody happened something and you cry, it's almost like denying that person power. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
because that person is where he or she or the dog, I don't know,
Yeah. Right.
is there because of his or her own experience, own choice, but like you, like me, like everybody else, that person has the power to shift. So, if you cry over that person, instead of giving that person power, at some level, it keeps her down there. So, yes,
Correct.
the circumstances of your life stink, is not good. And I'm very sorry for that happened to you, really. I wish you would. But you can do better. It's going to be better. It's like empower the person rather than feeling sorry and feeling the pain, because anyway, you cannot feel somebody else's pain. It's not true.
Yeah, right.
So you need to, and so those, on the path, those are the questions. And if you gear your search toward that because this is painful for you and it stops you and so you're going to be guided to understand what it is for you, what it means for you, how you can overcome that. Anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah. I think it's part of the human experience, Jocelyne. I can't really separate that. Once you realize that, yeah, God is everywhere. We are the spark of God, as you said beautifully. Or we are God. So you're right. Everybody's having their own experience and, as God itself doing what it does. But it doesn't really stop us from feeling that, having that compassion or that empathy.
No, but that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't mean, well,
Right.
I don't care. No, but you know, you need at some point you need to acknowledge that everybody has the power, the
Yeah,
same
I love
power.
that.
That doesn't mean, if you see somebody drowning, you're going to go and save them. And
Right.
if somebody is in pain, you're going to try to make that person feel better. You're going to take care of the baby. That doesn't mean you become insensitive to everything, but you need to keep things in balance. That's why, you anyway, that's what I think, because if you spend your life with tear in your eyes because you're feeling everybody's pain, then what good does that serve?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I asked that question, I guess, and I brought this up because from my own experience, I felt like this would go away right away because I have been very sensitive my entire life, very emotional and all that. So I thought once I realized that everything is God, there's nothing but God, only God exists, then that would end. And it, of course, ended in the sense that doesn't last long. So now I get sensitive and I cry when I see injustice, when I see, somebody passed away. One of my guests passed away recently. So I couldn't help it, but cry and
But that's okay. That's part of it. You lose somebody that
yeah,
die. You maybe that we are eternal and all of that. But on that moment, you lose somebody that you love, and it's okay to cry. Don't remember we here because we have emotion. We have emotion. We have feelings. This is part of the earth experience. I'm sure when you are a spirit, you don't cry anymore. But on
right.
earth, yes, of course, but then you can feel the pain of losing a loved one, but then you understand that they are on another journey, and you don't get attached to it. You don't, the grieving, you might still grieve. That's part of the human experience, but there is a difference between grieving and then you need to let go because you understand that they are off somewhere else. But to cry because you like, maybe I'm a coward because, on TV, when they have the publicity for the SPCA and they show all those dogs suffering,
Oh, yeah.
I can't watch it. I have to tell you, I turn it off because it's unwatchable for me to see what they're doing to those animals, so I understand. I mean, we have we have the heart, and sometimes we feel it, and that's okay. Just don't get attached to it. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my
right.
God, the dog. Now I'm going to kill myself because I can't take it.
Yeah, mother, my God. Yes.
I'm saying.
So you're almost at the end, and I want to go back to the things you say. The path to self-realization from your own experience, and you have outlined almost everything here. I just want to make sure that we went through everything. And then I have a question for you. So rebel against suffering, that's why, that's what you did throughout your journey. Wonder about your thoughts, your feelings and actions, and how we experience life. Desire to see beyond the confine of our minds. That's beautiful, beyond the ego. Listen, pay attention, study the revelations, a beautiful part of it. It's almost like devotional for me. And then you say, take responsibility.
Oh, that's very important, huh? Very important because the blaming game. Huh?
Yes,
It's my
yes,
mother, it's my father, it's my son, it's my husband, it's the government, you have to take responsibility for yourself. And that's hard because,
right.
you don't want to. It's always easier to blame the other. And that's always what I say. Remember, everything that happened to you is about you. That does not excuse the other. So that's why, instead of let's say you have a bad experience, you have a fight with somebody or something like that. And so the root could be, well, this person, A, B, C, D, just it's all the person. You did nothing. And, the person may have done something wrong. That's not the point. But the question is, why is this happening to me? That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that, you deserve it. No. But that's the question. Why is it coming up? And then you're going to find out and you're going to be able to release it. So when I say it's all about you, it's not always negative and it does not excuse the other person's behavior.
Right.
But in the end, you need to stop the blaming game and always say, okay, this is happening to me. Why? And then, it might be something good. Why? Because you need to realize that, oh, well, that's nice,
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
something,
I absolutely agree. I want to say that again. Yeah, that's a big one.
If you want peace, let's say, because there is so much war now, you kind of need to see the peace in you. I mean, in your mind, to imagine it, if you want more knowledge or if you want, you almost need to say, to imagine. That's what I call the divine tool. Where they are real or not real doesn't matter. The thing is, you need to use those tools. So let's say you want to understand love. Maybe you imagine yourself filled with the pink ray of love or the pink energy of love. I mean, the imagination is very important. You have to imagine everything that you want to achieve like it's achieved, but that doesn't mean it's achieved. It's just, you need to use your imagination. Because what else, if not, what else?
Right. And I think the law of attraction, they talk a lot about that. You imagine and then you get the feeling of it, right? There's this whole process. I know it's not the same thing that you're speaking about here, but I have heard about them. I talked to some people about the law of attraction. They mentioned imagination.
Yeah, but the law of attraction, and that's also sometimes it's misinterpreted. So Because let's say, oh, you're going to imagine a beautiful man coming into your life. Well, maybe he comes, but maybe you attracted him from your head. So the beautiful man turn into somebody not so beautiful for it. So you need to be very with the law of attraction and what you make, because everything you're going to attract is going to be balanced with what your inner work and who you are inside. So, I know there is a lot of thing about the law of attraction, manifestation, and all of that. And I'm not saying he's not right, but you need to be very careful who really, what power really it is, because in the end, we talked about last time, no matter what you do, you will always attract something that is going to push you in the past, but sometimes you might make it more difficult for you. So I think at one level, the manifestation, you don't call it anymore. You let it happen.
Yes.
Because if you let it happen, chances are that the man passing your door is the right man for you. If you call it, possibly the man passing your door is not going to give you a good experience. I say a man, it could be anything else, right? Anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah. Because of the energies, right?
Yes, you have to be careful. Yes.
So the next one is be persistent. So
Oh,
here we talk
yes.
about doubts and discouragement. Just try
Yes.
to stay aware, right, of that.
Yes, because sometimes it could be discouraging because you can do a lot of inner work and nothing change. And then the ego is going to try to take you away from that. So you need to be persistent and keep at it. And you need to test it too. Like, if you have some realization and say, understanding energy and all of that, you can test it, because sometimes you're going to have also confirmation. You need confirmation, right? So that's part, but everybody get there and then it happened by itself.
Right. Oh, I love the idea, the flow, right? Getting into that flow. And then the next one is apply the knowledge, as you mentioned. So to the way we express ourselves in everyday life. This is a
Yeah.
very big message of yours, I noticed. Since we met for the first time, I remember it's all about the application of knowledge,
Yes.
the application of all of that. How can you
Yes.
embody what you know or what you think you know?
Yes.
So that's powerful. And then be courageous, accept our power to change, to shift. As you said, yeah, and maybe that's why there's so many spiritual guides, so many healers, so many people, coaches. They're encouraging others to use their own power because they don't think they have power. Some people that they are in the victim mentality.
But again, I can tell you have power. I tell you, you know what, Valeria? You are a little spark of the divine. You've got power and all of that. Unless you experience it for yourself,
Yeah.
it, it's not working.
Yes.
And so, it's important not to get caught on that, because then you go and you go you have power, but okay, I have power. How do I have power? You know what I'm saying? You have to go within, because if not, it doesn't work. I mean, in my opinion, again, it's only my opinion.
Yeah, that also resonates true. We talked about this, the power within, the truth we have, right? But it has to be investigated. We have to do that ourselves. It's not something that
Yes.
somebody else can do it for us.
No.
You're right. And I remember talking to a very experienced coach here, and I said that to her, we're already what we are looking for. I don't know why we keep looking for something to be added.
Because we don't know. Because we don't know.
Yes.
No, and we don't know.
Yeah.
You know. And then remember, the true changes is never the ultimate truth. So the ultimate reality keeps on changing. It's like the savant or the physic, in physics. They learn something. Oh, this is it. We understand that. A year later, oh, you know what? No,
Yeah.
because now we find that, and that completely annihilate what we thought. That's part of the journey.
I interview a non-dualist here, a very respected teacher. He's, I think at the time when I interviewed him, he was about 80 years old, 83 or 80 something. And then Robert Wolf. And then he has said at the end, is there anything that's a mystery about life? Is there anything left to know? And he said, no. Everything that it is to know, it's here. There's no mystery. And
Maybe.
you pretty much ended the conversation like that. And then there's so much conviction, in his eyes and in his words. I was like, my God.
Yeah, maybe that's all it is. Maybe
Yeah.
that's all it is. This today, right now, that's all it is. And everything else is it's in our mind. It's a projection. You
Yeah.
see, possibly, and that's why I say it's got to be a personal journey, because that's it. But the journey I took, what I believe, and all of that makes me feel better.
Yes.
You know, and so maybe for you too, and this one, but maybe that's all there is. Even you think we got, like, one question you may have: what are the circumstances of my life, right? Why are we born here? Why were you born in Brazil? Why are people in Gaza? Why? And so, okay, maybe if that's a question, maybe we're going to find answer to that question.
Yeah.
But maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Maybe there is no why. Maybe we just die and come back and die and come back, and it's like a lottery.
I heard
Right?
about that too. Yeah.
We don't know. Now, that doesn't make me feel good, that idea, right?
Oh,
So
it
I
does.
am not going to accept that idea because I don't like it.
So you won't
You know,
explore, investigate that.
No, because I prefer the idea that, we are born in circumstances that allow us to grow, and I prefer to think that, and makes me feel better. But honestly, we don't know.
So it's almost like a dream that we have at night, that we go to bed and we dream, and then we think it's real, everything. We go through all that stuff that's happening there. And if we were to dream for the rest of our lives, we would believe that that's true. That's real.
Yeah, because if we think it, it's real. We make it real.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's your own thing, and it's your own experience, and also is what I say. It's like it's our own experience, but we are also part of everybody else's experience.
Right. Right.
So it's a bit it's conceptually it's hard to conceptualize that. That's why I say it's no good to go too far. It's better to just do what make you feel better and make you a better person. Because that we can deal with that. Because here we are.
Right. And then I heard you saying that you feel better that way. It's something that you prefer to believe, or to, I know you have powerful glimpses, and the one that you have, that you're not going to be like Christ, you are Christ. So that, to me, it was like that was because, you see, I'm interested in that, the big picture, that you are already what you're looking for. This is it.
Yeah. But still today, I don't feel like I'm enlightened and Christ. I don't feel that. I am not only I don't feel it, I am not. I've done my journey. I live my life the best I could, and all of that with what I had. But I don't feel that I am Christ. But that strong message, or whatever it was, put me on a path of trying to understand what it means. Now, my interpretation today of what it means is that I am that energy part of, of all, of the universal energy, if you want, or universal intelligence or whatever, but Christ, now they say, okay, Christ consciousness is the enlightened Christ. Well, I'm not enlightened, if I was enlightened, I would not be here. But that was the message that was given to me. And so then, I went on my search. I have to find out what it means, but I did not attain it yet.
Yeah. And it feels amazing. That feels like nothing else exists. The whole world now, it's completely in the background, doesn't exist. Nothing exists but you and I talking now. My dog doesn't exist, my husband. None of that came into my mind. It was just a blank. And then this is real. So that might be who knows, but it feels so real. Feels a lot more real than anything else. This moment, you and I talking here. There's nothing else.
They always say you need to live in the moment. The moment is all there is. And so,
yes.
but
oh, yeah.
But it's hard to live in the moment because your mind takes you there and your mind takes you there. But the most beautiful thing really is when you are in the moment, when you do something, whatever it is, something that takes your entire being and you are on that moment and nothing exists except what you are doing. And that's it's a beautiful experience. And it could be doing nothing, just be there in the moment. But, right now the life is, people to be in the moment is, find the silence. You need to find the silence. You need to find the silence and go within you. I wish that in school, they will start teaching children, okay, children, we take 5 minutes, 10 minutes when we just go silence and we go within, because I think meditation is really important, really, really important. And, but now, the children, they're busy all the time, busy. So they don't know the silence.
Right.
And everything is in the silence.
Yeah. All comes from silence. Like I think one of the things that I have realized that the most present moments in my life is when I'm having these conversations, because I'm talking about God, about consciousness, about the infinite, the divine. That's when all my energies, everything concentrates here, and there's nothing, everything disappears.
That's like a meditation. It's a meditation.
Right. So it feels like there's nothing more important but this.
That's
like having conversations like this is nothing more important. And it feels like it's coming from silence. Like the things you say, the things that I catch myself saying here, they are not coming from words that I have read. It's coming from a place of silence. I'm like, wait a minute. And I hear you saying things that my heart opens. So the physical heart, whatever that is in the body or outside the body. But anyway, yeah, I think that's perhaps that's what we need more too in our reality. It's it might not be like being silenced. It might be, of course, that helps a lot. Our path will lead to that place. But there's something about devotion, speaking of God, speaking of this divine energy that's always here. It's almost like honors it.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean. Yeah, when it's important, when you have, it's inspirational.
Yes, right. It inspires the body and the mind to be here.
Yes. I understand that. And the truth be told, well, you speak to, that's your, that's what you do. So you have a lot of those conversations. But if not, in real life, it's, you really, you don't. Because not too many people want to talk about this and that. So yeah, but I understand. It's there is an exaltation about it.
Yeah, there's this desire to be close to God.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that's it. Yeah. Thank you, Jocelyne. So, gosh, we're almost then. I could never end the conversation with you, and some of my guests too. I just kind of have a hard time stop ending the conversation because I love so much. So I want to finish here the path to self-realization from your own experience. You also mentioned be courageous. We mentioned that. Be aware of the seductive ego in the ways it tries to keeps us away from.
Yes. You got to be very, very careful with the ego, because also when you are on the path, the ego might, how can I say that? The ego can try to deviate you from the path, making you feel important. So all of a sudden you may have people say, oh, you're so important, you have a mission, or, fill your mind with false importance. And so then, sometimes people, they want to convert you, or, like all of a sudden, you know the truth, all of a sudden you know everything. And that's the ego. And I think that's pretty common, and so you need to use discernment. You need to be watchful, and the ego will try to take you away from the path of self-awareness, because the ego does not really want you to become self-aware, because then he lost some of his power when you are self-aware, So you have to be very watchful,
That's another one. And what came to mind, which would be a great podcast conversation, which I have been talking to Adrian. He's from Australia. He's a spiritual teacher. Talk about fear. One episode only about fear, how fear can get in the way of self-realization too.
Yeah, but the fear is the ego. That's the ego, the fear.
Yeah.
In that level, and also sometimes the fear of knowing yourself, to be aware of yourself, it's scary. It can be scary. This is a journey that has its challenges.
At so many levels.
Right? Yes.
The fear of being divine. Yeah, wow, that's a big one.
Well, that's the big one. That is a big fear, and
wow.
That's going to stop you on the path for sure.
Wow. So the next one is let go of control. So being in the flow of life is very important. So that's part of that fear too, right, Jocelyne, of the ego.
Yeah, the control is part of the ego, because, we have the thing is, we are fearful because of death too. We have no control of death. And in the end, that's the only sure thing, is we're going to die. But we have no control over anything. So the ego is building up the control, and the power, the false power. We create a power that is not real, and from that, comes war, and comes all those, wrong feeling and all of that. That's all the ego.
So that's an extension of the seductive ego, right? The attachment to the false self. And then allow your mind to express wisdom, universal intelligence. That's beautiful. Allow, in a sense of letting it flow too, right? Not being, because some people, they are afraid even to talk about God, and they don't really talk about Jesus, Christ consciousness, or divine energies, because they feel that other people don't want to hear that.
Well, that's good what you say. Because it's better not to speak too much. Because if you speak too much about your experience, okay, to people that don't believe you or could be jealous of you and all of that, and so then they send their vibes, their energy to you, and that could unbalance you. Right. So this is your journey. I mean, I share it because I did not really have a choice in the matter. I was like, write the book, okay. Yeah. But if not, it's a very personal journey. You don't need to share it with anybody unless you feel confident that you're talking to somebody that you are in the same place.
Yes.
But if not, don't try to convert anybody and don't talk too much about what you're doing, because also people can be jealous and then the ego comes. So I would say, follow your path in peace and, see where it leads you. But you don't need to share everything.
Right. That's a very good point. That might be one of the mistakes I have made throughout my life, trying to talk about, because one is, I love the devotional path of, like I said, of honoring God. So I always want to have conversations like that.
Well, it's okay, but exactly, I tell you a story. At one point, I was teaching French, and so in my home, I had either flower or candle with color and everything, because at the time I work with color a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I call the divine rays, and I, I think color has power, and all of that. Anyway, so I had a lot of people coming to my home, but I never talk about spirituality or anything like that. And so one day, a student, a woman, is in my home, and she said, "Oh, but I notice you always have color, different color, and all of that." And I don't know why I decided to say, "Oh, because I like to work with color. I think color have their own power." She never came back.
Wow, that was good.
She probably thought I was completely crazy. So you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's better you don't say anything.
Yes. Wow. Or sometimes it's okay for those to let go of those people who are not in resonance, right, with you.
Yeah, but I think because not everybody is ready at the same time,
Right.
and it's good if people. I don't know. My advice is like, better, unless you know that you are safe, you are in a good environment. Keep your journey to yourself.
Gosh. Well, I appreciate that Jesus didn't keep that journey for himself, right? He just kept talking to
Well,
everybody about it, and he was punished
yes,
for it.
that was his mission. That was his mission. It's not everybody's mission.
Right. Yeah, it's not. That's for sure, Jocelyne. It's not everybody's mission, right? It's definitely something that I can't stop, though. Every conversation I have, even when I have scientists, whoever they are, I always bring God to the conversation. I always bring the divine here. I can't help it, because that's when I feel really grounded too. I feel like I'm connecting with the divine in you. So I have to bring that. It's almost like I said, an honoring thing. So I can't help it. Hopefully, obviously, that's not the level. I don't have to be concerned with safety of my body. So I just kind of don't mind. If they don't like, it's okay. So the last one is open your heart to radiate love, joy, and peace. So be open to those, we call them energies, but I call them the perfume of God. Love, joy, and peace, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I'll have your website actually in a clickable way, so that's easier. I don't have to spell it. So jranucci.com. And the Instagram is at Jocelyne Ranucci author. And I'll have those two links here on the podcast
All
notes.
right.
Thank you so much for your presence again.
Well,
It's
thank
always
you.
wonderful to talk about, to honor the divine presence. And thank you for being open. Thank you so much, Jocelyne.
My pleasure.
And we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye
All
for
right.
now.
Bye.